What's up, you fucking weirdos? What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to where the weird ones are.
Yeah. Weird ones only, we talking that truth. Ghost in the attic, yeah, show me the proof. Aliens creeping, they light in the roof. Minds wide open, we shatter the booth. Conspiracies deep, we digging the scars. Demons and angels and bodies on Mars. Cryptids be watching, they lurk in the dark. Mental on edge, but we glowing like stars. Welcome to the pod, no cap, it's a seance. Whispers in the static, spirits doing dance. Reptiles in suits, yeah, running the lands. MK Ultra made a puppet of your mans. Wendigo hunger, dogman strut, flat woods, eyes glow. Slice through the cut, Bigfoot tagging trees. Marking the trail, weird ones ride, no room for the frail. Talking about trauma, talking that soul. Peeling back layers, we digging a hole. Sacred geometry, numbers align. Ancestors speak through the veil and the sign. Ayahuasca dreams, third eye lit. Shadow self lurking, we making it spit. No mainstream lies. This the dirt where the weird ones rise from the blood and the hurt. Weird ones only, we talking that truth. Ghosts in the attic, yeah, show me the proof. Aliens creeping, they light in the roof. Minds wide open, we shatter the booth. Conspiracies deep, we digging the scars. Demons and angels and bodies on Mars. Cryptids be watching, they lurk in the dark. Mental on edge, but we glowing like stars. Voices in the woods got chills on the neck. Black-eyed kids at the door, now we check. CIA tapped in, fluoride drip. Project Bluebeam, watch that script. Talking about grief, talking about fear. Talking about why them voices appear. Healing the mind while breaking the chain. Spiritual warfare deep in the brain. We don't run from the strange, we live in the strange. Tattoo the truth in the scars and the pain. Stay weird, the mantra we own in the name. Reality bent, so we bend to the same. From the attic to the swamp, we tracking the freak. Where the veil get thin and the silence speak. We ain't your norm, we off that grid. Weird as the wave, yo, this where we live.
Would you like to hear a story?
Hey, this is Rochelle Stratton, and you are listening to Kevin with Where the Weird Ones Are. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
What's up, you fucking weirdos? Welcome to another episode of Where the Weird Ones Are. My name is Kevin, but you probably already knew that, and if you didn't, now you do. And this is Charlie. Yeah, Charlie. Charlie in the house. Today's episode is with a lovely couple, paranormal investigators by the name of Marco and Karisa. They have some pretty interesting encounters themselves. Um, and they happen to know a lot of history about Jerome, Arizona, and so it was a lovely conversation. Could have conversated with them for another hour or so, maybe even 2, to be honest with you. I really enjoyed talking with them. They're very sweet people. Um, so which Marco actually, he's a tech guy, I guess, which has a phenomenal freaking rate, like a spirit box kind of thing. It's called the Mag Tom Radio. He has it on for sale on Etsy. Um, and he can do like any era, he says. Which he's gonna tell you in the episode anyway, but I just find it so freaking fascinating. Um, this radio, like he can do like any era type of radio for you. If that's what you want, but the regular original one, I think, is pretty dope looking anyway. So, um, again, dope person, dope couple. They're both fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and I really hope you guys enjoy their stories and their knowledge on the paranormal within Jerome, within Arizona, within the they a wealth of knowledge. These people, yeah. Charlie agrees. She gets it. Yeah. Yeah. Um, but yeah, and they come to their investigations with nothing but respect, and I respect the shit out of that. So anywho, quick shout out to the sponsor, Flavors of the Forest, raw garlic dust. They freeze dry it, compound it into a dust. It's very potent. It's way more potent than anything you're going to get at the store. I can promise you that. So head on over to flavorsforest.com and get yourself 1 or 2 or 5 or a million and check it out. let them know that I sent you. You can also follow them on Instagram at Flavors Forest. Again, it's really good. I enjoy it. I put it on just about everything. So at least give it a shot and let me know what you think. But moving on, I know that there's a lot of things going on in the world. I wish I could save every child, but honestly, I can't. Um, I wish there's times where I really wish I had superpowers of some kind. But if you are experiencing any kind of mental distress here in the United States, please dial or text 988. They are equipped with resources to help you out with any mental distress needs. Also, if you are just trying to help somebody that is experiencing a mental health crisis, you can also call or text them and they can give you the resources to help them. So that's pretty cool too. But if you're not in the United States, I believe it is lifeline.com. Um, I could be incorrect on that. But either way, please take care of yourself because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else, right? Right, Charlie? Right. She's just back there eating. She dumped a bunch of goldfish in her chair and she's just reaching down down and grabbing them to eat them. Anyways, um, I really hope you enjoy this episode. Um, I enjoyed recording it. And I would love to have them back on in the future. I'm sure there's way more stories, and they do have something nearby their house that they're gonna check out, and I really am looking forward to hearing about that. So, all right, guys. See you on the other side. Hope you enjoy it. Let's get into this. Where the Weird Ones Go production. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode. So happy to have you here. I have two lovely guests with me tonight. They are paranormal investigators, Marco and Karisa. I found them on Instagram, been checking out their stuff and through there, and they haven't. Marco actually has an Etsy, but I'm gonna let them introduce themselves real quick. Let you guys know a little bit more about themselves and what they do. So the floor is yours, guys.
So I'm Karisa Magliozzi, and I'm not only a investigator, but I'm actually a psychic medium and Reiki practitioner, which comes in really handy. And
I'm a paranormal investigator, and also I work on all the tech that we use in our investigations. I'm also into fitness as well, obviously, personal training and that. But I've been in the dealing with the paranormal for my whole life, pretty much. My father was, big into the paranormal, and he's had a lot of, experiences and growing up, and told me a lot of stories, and I got into it, and I've been doing it since then. I'm, over 20 some years now. So it's a lot of fun.
the great thing about our dynamic is I can do more of the spiritual side of it. And then with all of the tech supplies, he's able to verify it. So we're kind of getting that double dosage and verification, which is really great because it's really given us a very fast track to being reputable investigators.
Yeah, I'd say that I think that's a cool dynamic. I always like it when there's like a medium or somebody who's intuitive that's also on the team, and then somebody who actually understands the tech is also very key, I think. So
Yeah.
that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Um, so one of I did want to real quick before we get into like stories, I want to talk about like the science behind the MagCom radio. Like what made you, what was that like thought process on like, I'm gonna make this thing and sell it, and how does it work?
Well, watching, a lot of the shows throughout the years and the technology advancing, a lot of investigators just use your basic SB7, spirit radio. It's pretty basic. The issue that they have is a lot of static, a lot of interruptions,
Mhm.
so the voices don't come through clearly. So what I did with the radios is I pretty much incorporated um, an FM and AM transmitter, from gutting out these old 1940s, 1950s vintage radios. So I gut them out and I put in more of the newer technology that allows you to get clear feedback. You can take out all the static noise. There's reverb in there. Again, so you can enhance the voices that are coming through. I also have the RGB lighting here that goes along with the voices. So you can set this down during an investigation. You could be, quite a few feet away. Once that light starts moving, there's communication, going through. Um, Also, mine they come with a 12-volt rechargeable battery. And also the radio transmitters back here. It pops out, so you can kind of go. You can choose AM or FM as far as the radio frequencies go, and then the noise cancellation here. You can control how you want the sound to come through. But yeah, what I do is I build custom boxes to any era of your choosing. Whether you like something from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever you prefer. It's all custom made. You just email me um, personally at my email, and just tell me what you like, and I can build it. You know.
That's dope. That's dope. I like the look of that one. If you don't mind, that you can let the good people know the email that if they want a custom box.
Yeah, my email is magliozzi1985 at gmail.com. That's my personal email. Like I said, once you email me, I'll send you a list and checkoffs of things you want in your radio, whether it's a specific type of color, era, um, even the RGB lighting. They're custom, so I can show you when I turn it on. So it goes along with my voice. Now you can have different colors as well, of your choice. Some people like the red, the green, or you can have just multiple colors, coming through, just whatever style you like.
Nice. Nice, man. That's awesome. I really like that. That's a fucking dope idea. I wish I was techie enough to do something like that, dude. That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. A lot of people don't know, but the well-known godfather of building these boxes. I'm going to mention his name is George Brown, and I'm pretty sure the paranormal community is well aware of him. I've actually been in communication with him, and he's given me some great advice. He's
Hmm.
passed on a lot of great advice to help me build these boxes. So I'm pretty sure the paranormal community is well aware of George Brown. So I don't copy him. I kind of do like my own style, my own
Yep.
version. So, um, and it's like I said, it's an affordable price as well compared to a lot of the radios out there.
Yes. Yes. I've seen some pretty pricey radios out there, but that the look of yours definitely catches my eye. I really like the
Yeah,
one that you just had really catches my eye. And then I saw that you do the custom ones too. So
yeah,
the thought idea to just be able to make a radio the way that somebody likes the look of is
mm-hmm.
is awesome, dude. Awesome. Awesome. Good for you. I'm gonna put the links obviously in the show notes for everybody to check that out. So um
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
yeah, no problem. No problem at all. I love it. But so Carissa, I'll ask you the next question. When did you realize that you had the mediumship gift? Like what was the process of finding all that out?
So I will start out by saying I am no Cindy Kaza, and I idolize her and what she does because there's a lot of similarities with the abilities, and I love how she expresses. And again, she does what I do is go in blind. I love
Mhm.
going in blind, and I've just always, since I was little, just been very open and aware. As I got older, I was in my early teens when I heard of Reiki as I was trying to learn how to better process and understand this because we're both being Italian, obviously our last name. Um, the Vatican backs the paranormal activity and saying, yes, demons and poltergeists and these things exist. So I've always been very aware of it, but I didn't really have anyone to show me or teach or understand. So the great thing is as I started becoming a teenager and I noticed I was getting a little bit stronger and more aware, I learned Reiki, which has helped me fine tune my energy. So when we do go on investigations, I can kind of make myself like a human Tesla coil. And I'm able to draw those beings and the energies in the area. I can tell the differences between the residual energies when I interact with the energies and spirits that are there. It's not so much where I can see them like I'm communicating with you. I can't visually see them unless it happens to be like the planets are aligning and everything's really strong. For me, I get the images downloaded in my head like a movie, and I'm able to process that. I get the feelings, the images. It's almost like they can project it into my head and I can understand it that way. And I'm able to feel where they are. There have been instances where we go to Jerome, Arizona quite frequently. We're very well known there. And it's incredible. It's almost like they're recognizing us now. And sometimes we get there and they're like, oh, hey, they're back. And they'll just come over. But
Well, that's
yes, I
awesome.
was very, very young. I still think my parents may not completely believe me about it, but
Mm.
it's the one of the perks about with his tech and then getting known in the investigating community is we do have those international teams and even regular ghost tours where it's like, oh, she actually verified, like, this is right, like she knew this. Because I like to do the hoser effect. I like to go in blind and I don't want to know anything about where I'm going. And that way I can just get a clean reading and get it verified by statistics or technology that gets picked up.
Nice. As I was just actually in Arizona the last weekend, since I know that you guys live out there. I did a high rocks competition out there in Phoenix.
Oh,
I don't know
nice.
if you ever heard of it.
Is it one? Is one of the? Is it one of the fitness? I think you posted something on your page.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, fitness. I mean, I'm not as big as you, but
yeah,
I think I'm athletic anyway. I try to be.
yeah. Is that like very similar to like Tough Mudders or like the Iron
Yeah,
Man type of
yeah, kind of. Like I would equate it to like I would say CrossFit competition because everybody knows what
CrossFit?
CrossFit
That's it.
is. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's a 5K with a bunch of like little workouts that you do in between running. So
Oh, nice,
it was
nice.
pretty fun. But yeah, while I was there, it's interesting because of what I do and what I love. It kept telling me that there was ghost tours in Phoenix, and it kept showing me on Facebook. So like every time I would just like check out on my social medias, Arizona, it would pop up with like, oh, Arizona ghost tour. Or, Arizona's not just sun and desert; it's also known for ghosts and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. But currently what is your favorite place to investigate in your area?
Yeah,
That's going to be Jerome. Jerome
yeah.
is very near and dear to us, not just because we go there frequently, but he actually proposed to me when we were
Uh
in Jerome. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's always been near and dear to us.
Yeah, it's a very special place, and it's funny because she has this gift of the Reiki, but for some reason for me it's more like just some random moments throughout any day throughout the year. I just feel like we got to go back. I feel like something there is kind of pulling me to go back, and I get
mhm.
this like sense of happiness, that I got to go back and visit. We feel very welcome there, and not just from the people, but we feel like even the spirits as well, because we just get a very positive type of energy when we're there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely got to be Jerome on our list.
I was just listening to a friend's podcast because they cover like spooky areas, and they actually brought up Jerome. And I can't remember the story. What if you don't mind, for the listeners' sake of things, what is the story behind Jerome for their
So that's
hauntings?
going to be me. I'm the history person. So Jerome is an old mining town up between Flagstaff and Phoenix, and it's absolutely breathtaking. But it does have a bit of a very traumatic past. From the very beginning, there were landslides. Locals will tell you there were times when massive boulders would just plow through entire houses. There was sickness. The miners, they actually built I'm sure everyone knows the Grand Jerome Hotel used to be originally a hospital where the miners would get sick. What a lot of people don't know is there's actually a parking lot not far from that hospital that used to be the original hospital that burned down with staff and patients inside it. And it's actually now an empty dirt lot that we actually, when we go every time, we get a lot of activity from there. And there's so much incredible history. The mine is still somewhat active up there still, and you can do tours up there. There are a couple groups that do tours. We actually know an international group that's really well known that we get special access because we have built up that relationship and reputation to certain areas where those public tours aren't allowed, which we got some really good stuff one time. And unfortunately, he got a bad attachment that took a little while to get rid of.
Yeah,
But
that wasn't.
there's a lot of really good, amazing energy up there. There is also a lot of very bad energy up there. I do not ever at any point recommend going to the high school that is in Jerome unless you really know what you're doing and you have a lot of experience and you're aware of what is there, because there is a very, very dark entity there. But otherwise, Jerome is absolutely incredible. There's so much history. The people are amazing. And just to remember, be very respectful. That's a very big thing. And I think that's one reason why we do always feel so welcome up there, is because there is that difference with treating them with respect and knowing that that's their place and their territory versus, like, we don't believe in that trend that's going on where everyone's like antagonizing the spirits.
Oh yeah, provoking.
That's what it is.
Yeah, we don't provoke them. We come in with respect. You know, that's why we try to learn the history of wherever we go first and see what happened. Especially if it's something tragic, we try to approach it very gently and, you know, sensitively, because, you know, you could upset them, or, you know, or you may not get any communication at all. You know, we've had times where we went on those ghost tours in Jerome, the paid ones, just to kind of jump along and kind of learn, you know, the history of it. And sometimes, you know, some of those tour guides can be, you know, a little negative, and we don't get nothing at all. There's nothing coming through in the radios. There's no communication.
You'll see me whispering to him. It's like they are literally stepping away from them.
She'll
like,
tell me, like, Mark,
there's nothing here.
There's nothing here. Like, literally, like, she will catch something for a brief second, and then it's just gone. There's nothing coming through, and you just end it right there, because once they're disrespected, they don't want to communicate with you. You know,
Right? Just like the living. It's
yeah, exactly.
not any different. So you start disrespecting somebody who's alive, they're going to be like, what the hell, man? And they're going to walk away and leave the conversation. So it doesn't surprise me at all that they would do it on the other side, because they're like, man, I get people over here all the time trying to ask me questions, and you're going to be rude to me? Like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, it's a fun place, Jerome. You know, like I said, there's a lot of good people there, a lot of good energy. You know, so you guys listening out there, if you decide to go do an investigation there, just, you know, respect, you know, the spirits there. And funny fact is, a lot of big groups, well-known groups, I'm not going to say their names, but were kicked out of Jerome for provoking.
Oh, wow.
You know, they actually got kicked out, and they're not allowed to go back ever. The city just doesn't want them there for that reason. So just be very cautious, you know, when you go there, because they really like to preserve the land there and keep it the way it is, to show the respect, you know.
Yeah, that's a good way to be. Good way to be.
Yeah.
So Marco, you said in the beginning that you experienced a lot growing up and that your dad actually has experiences as well. If you don't mind sharing what your earliest memory of an experience is.
Yeah, my earliest one was probably when I was maybe 10 years old. It was like late at night and, very quiet. And I got up to, get something to drink, and I hear a lot of people talking, what's going on. And it's like, um, well, I walked outside, well, because we have a backyard. I was looking through the window, and I see my dad out there. I've never seen him do this, but it was my dad, my mom, and one of our close family friends. She's into the Wicca stuff and witchcraft and that, and they were playing with the Ouija board, and I didn't know what that was,
Mm.
and I know this lady really well, very nice lady, very sweet, um, but I was just kind of I stood there and watched them for a while. I was like, what's they were talking normal, just kind of. My dad was trying to communicate with my his great grandfather. Um, and all of a sudden I'm just like listening, and the woman that I know really well, like her voice changed. Like it wasn't her voice anymore. It was like a more deep, you know, grunty voice. Like it was literally like a male.
Oh
And
shoot.
I freaked. Yeah, like I was just like, I didn't know. I was 10 years old. Like I know the stories my dad told me, but as a kid, you listen to these stories, like you get that sense of like excitement because like you're a kid, you like hearing that stuff. You don't know if it's real. Well, you actually see something like that. Um, I couldn't explain it, and it wasn't of our language. It was something that I didn't understand because I'm Italian. I speak Italian. I speak Spanish, fluently. So this was a language that I've never heard before. And my family, we all speak Italian. That lady as well, she's from Sicily. So it was a language that wasn't known to us. So it was definitely something not good. Um, I learned after, because when I
Hmm.
tried asking my dad about it the next day, I was like, what was that? She goes, you must have been, you had a bad dream, or, it's like, no, no, I was fully awake. I stood by the window for probably like an hour. I was like listening to the whole thing, and my dad was really trying to communicate with his great grandfather, and something came through. But my dad, he's well experienced with that stuff, so he was able to, working with the Ouija board. You have to be able to, once you open that door, you better make sure you're able to close it, because if you leave it
Oh, for
open,
sure.
bad things come in, or stay.
Or stick with my belief and just don't mess with them at all.
Don't mess with it at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that for sure. So was your dad an investigator as well, or?
No, my dad, he's more into the.
I'd say he's a magnet.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
okay.
He's done so he's worked as so long story short, my father-in-law is almost a celebrity chef. He's been the chef on the Queen Mary. So we actually were at the Queen Mary a few years ago. The
Oh.
San Carlos Hotel in downtown Phoenix, which is built in 1928, incredibly haunted, well-known hotel. He and my husband owned that restaurant there. Coincidentally, at the same time I was providing tours at the San Carlos, and we never even knew that until later. So it's just, I want to say it's almost more like a paranormal magnet type of situation where he's just drawn to these
Yeah, he
locations.
reads up on that stuff. Like he's got books about it, and I've always kind of went in his library to look. And he's like, "No, don't look at that stuff. It's stuff you don't want to look at. It's dangerous. You don't mess with that stuff." He's always
Hmm.
been that way. Even now with my radios, he's like, "You be careful now." He's like, you gotta know what you're dealing with, because and it's funny because now he's seen like how these radios work, right?
Yep.
And he wants one himself now. Just last week, he's like, can you build? He's like, I think there's because they live in an older house, and my dad's like, I think there's somebody in the room. Like, I feel like there's this old lady that comes up and breathes on me in the middle of the night, and he's like, could you get me one of those radios, so I can put on my nightstand to see if I could pick something up. So It's funny because he's not about the technology and stuff, but now he believes in it now with that kind of stuff. Just catching it. The tech because he's in the ham radios too, so he knows all about like frequencies and things like that. So he's kind of proud of me now because that's like his hobby. Ham radios,
Yeah.
communicating with people around the world. But I build it's the same thing, right? I build radios to communicate with spirits. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
And
you're talking to somebody.
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
And the technology nowadays, it makes it so amazing doing investigations because now we have this incredible technology. He built our XLS camera. We have everything. So it's great that we're able to have this technology that we didn't have like with Ed and Lorraine Warren to help verify and provide this evidentiary support of this other dimension and these paranormal activities.
That's amazing. I like that a lot. Man, I want to like when I talk to people like you guys, it makes me like more excited to do my own investigations every time. Because I've been on 3 now, and every time it's exciting. And I've done the Estes method. I've never even knew what the hell that was for the longest
No.
time, but I've done that, and that's really hard sometimes because sometimes like I feel like a word will pass, and I know, and I'm trying to make out what the word was, and then there's another word coming, and I'm like, oh shoot, you know, like I missed
Yeah.
that word. I didn't say it. I didn't speak it, but I was just like, was that what I heard? And then there's other words coming through, so that other than that, like it is so much fun. I've gotten um evidence of my own going out there. So I've been out to the old Davies School. I don't know if you're familiar. It's in Florida, the Miami area. Um, they picked
Oh.
up and moved these people's houses and stuff like that. I guess into the school area, and they're all supposedly haunted. And I got some pretty interesting stuff there. And then I went out into the Huckamuck Swamp, which is a part of the Bridgewater Triangle in Massachusetts, and got some
Oh, wow.
interesting evidence there. And you know how I don't know if you know anything about people talking about portals, but they always associate
Yeah.
a metal sound with it. And we heard a metal sound, and we're like, "What? There's nothing metal out here. We're in the middle of a swamp, you know." And then I hear like what sounded like 2 ladies whispering to each other, like they were chitter chattering, like having a coffee on their back deck or something. And I'm like, I open the bushes, and it's just like swamp. And I'm like, I swear to God, I heard 2 ladies over here having a conversation. And then the last
Wow.
one I did was in Rhode Island at the Conjuring House. And that was exciting just because of the story with it,
Hmm.
but it wasn't as active as I wanted it to be, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it was still pretty interesting. I did another Estes, and it sounded like I was talking to a Native American, but at the same time, I'm not really sure. I did get like so in the middle of it, all of a sudden, I felt like somebody just like took like Mr. Freeze from Batman took his freeze gun and just sprayed me and encased me with ice. I was like, oh my
Wow.
God, I'm so cold. I threw the friggin' headphones off and I took the blindfold off. I'm like, I'm so cold, and I ran out of the basement. I was like, I need to go warm. It was like 98 degrees out that day too, in the middle of July.
Wow.
So
Yes. As someone who's actually from Rhode Island and the Massachusetts area, I have never been, but the best way I can explain it is, well, I've never been directly to the Conjuring House. The entire area. So my personal theory, based on my readings, it's in the land. It's not necessarily the house itself.
mhm.
It's whatever it is the house is just coincidentally on a spot and kind of made an opening. There is an area around it, like a bubble almost, that I, for the life of me, cannot go near. I will not go in the area. Everyone's always like, "Oh, you're from Rhode Island. Have you been there?" And I'm like, "No, I will not." It's just it's something seeped in the ground. It's something very, very negative. I don't think it's necessarily the house itself. I feel for me, based on what I have picked up, staying
Mhm.
in the limited distance, I think the house just was in that perfect spot and something happened and it allowed something to come out. But there is something very, very, very dark there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they talk about like girls when they hit puberty with the paranormal aspect or something like that, like it causes something. And that's what like a lot of stories are based around, is when like girls coming of age and all of a sudden this like it's like an entity trying to like manipulate them or something like that. And there was what several like 5 girls in that house all around the same age in that age range of, becoming a woman and stuff like that. So I wonder if that like attached itself to that and then it just like went kind of crazy too. Because the one of the things that they talk about too on when I that I didn't know is that a lot of investigators have experienced a lot of stuff on the outside of the house, in the woods, on the trail, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So we went out there. We went out on the trail in the middle of the night too, and we heard Native American drums. And I don't know. The assumption is that possibly it's partial Native American land out there. I don't know for sure if they just if it's a part of what they were claiming at the time or whatever. But yeah, so to have the Native American drumming, and when I will tell you real quick is when I did the Estes, my friend Scott, he asked, because I said native, I think, or something like that, and he goes, "Was that you out in the woods?" With the drums. And then my response to that was I was being bold. And he goes, "Oh, I would say that was pretty bold or whatever." And so like it seemed like confirmation right there, you know what I mean? So um, but yeah, so I'm in New England. There's a lot of New England stories. And it's old country out here where I was in Arizona a few years ago. Um, and I can't remember the name of the town, but it said it was established in the 60s. I was like, "What in the world?"
Oh,
Because
Yeah, there's
everything up here is like 1600s and 1700s, and then we were going
I
to the
told
west
you.
rim of the canyon and it said 1960 something. I can't remember. Oh my god, I can't remember the name. But as I was passing, I was like 1960s. What the hell?
Yeah, it takes some getting used to going from somewhere where you have houses that are hundreds of years old to being out here, or like in our case, we just built our house this year. So it's like everything's brand new and being built, and there's not that sense of history. But one thing I have noticed in places like Arizona, where there is an astonishing, I'm actually speaking of just moving into this house, he was testing that same radio, what was it, a month or two ago?
hmm
And I am for me, I'm very, very big on keeping protection on our house because we have a son. And I'm like, nothing's coming in. I don't care what's going on anywhere else. But he had been testing his radio. So I'm like, okay, fine. Our son's at school right now. We'll let it come through. He turns on the radio and we start hearing, after a minute, we both looked at each other. I'm like, that sounds like a mine. Like you hear the chinking, the whispers, like hanging on the mine. And I look at him, I'm like,
Whoa.
are there any mines around here?
Yeah, and then we looked it up. We went on Google search and see if there was anything. Literally, like, was it 100?
The other side of the canal, it's like 200, 300 feet.
Yeah, like 200 or 300 feet from our house. That's where
Whoa.
the mines are. And I kid you not, like I was so pissed because we were so into it that I wanted to record it, but we were just like trying to like communicate. We can hear chatter, like you hear men, like you hear the like the hammers clanging on the rocks. You hear the clanging, and you hear men talking, and all of a sudden a male voice comes through, asking for Madeline. It was a name, Madeline, female name. It's almost like he was talking to his buddy, whoever was there working with it. They were having a conversation about their home life. Literally, it was
Hmm.
like a residual thing. It was just kind of repeating itself. And I had it on the radio. And it's funny because I thought maybe it was just like a glitch or something on my, so I adjusted um the noise cancellation to see if I can maybe remove it, and it was just, I didn't even have to clean it up. It was just, that's just the way it was. and then 2 days later, I turn it on again to see maybe if I can catch it again. Nothing. The same radio, nothing. I didn't even change the settings on there. I left it the way it was. I turned it on, and it's just quiet, silence. So there was definitely something there. So now we're gonna investigate and figure out where this mine is, and we're actually gonna probably walk over there and do an investigation ourselves and see what's going on, because mines hold a lot of energy. I mean, you know that, like,
Yes.
the minerals from the earth,
Mhm.
hold a lot of energy, a lot of residual. The stone tape theory. I know you're familiar with that. That those, the stone holds energy almost like a recorder. So
Yeah.
that residual, things that went on there is just going to repeat itself in a loop, and you can communicate, you can catch it on, on the radio, or EVPs, things like that. So we're excited about that. That's probably gonna be one of our next projects.
Nice, man. I will be asking follow-up questions for sure. Give me like 2 weeks and I'll be like, hey, did you go check that out yet?
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in our connection to Earth, to the point where I love being barefoot. So like everything about you know connection and the memory that the our Earth, our nature holds, I 100% believe in. So like the residuals, like you were just talking about, and all that, and the stones, the crystals, there's so much to it, and there's a lot of it. There's a lot of things that I think that we used to be able to do that we just can't anymore for whatever reason. I mean, they put rubber soles in our shoes. Maybe that's one of the reasons, but I don't
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
know.
Oh,
But so you said that you got an attachment earlier too. Was it in Jerome? Was that what you said?
It was, I
that
think
was
our
the cemetery.
yeah, I think it
This
was our
okay.
4th time in
That's like
Jerome.
our 4th time there. Yeah.
And it was actually, oh, what was his name? He's in that international team.
Jason, his last name. I don't know his last name. Jason's his name, but he's a well-known. He's one of the guys. If you guys do
Pause.
go to Jerome, uh, not Jason Hawes. No,
Oh,
Jason Hawes is from the East
sorry.
Coast. We know him very
You're
well.
right.
Red
You're
Allen.
right.
Yeah,
You're
we're big
right.
fans of him. No, he's a local there, and he does the tours, but he's very, very
Oh.
knowledgeable, and he's actually on the board of paranormal investigators. He's actually a certified
Oh.
investigator, and we didn't know anything about that until we met him. And he's actually the one that told us about the secret location, immigrant cemetery, that's located in Jerome, or should I say
It's
Clarksdale,
just outside, yeah.
which is right on the bottom of Jerome. But yeah, he gave us that location. He drove us there.
He actually
Literally,
drove us
he
there.
drove us there. We followed him, and he left. He said, "Here you go, guys." He goes, "It's all you now." So yeah, we pulled out our equipment. I had my body cam on. I was an immigrant cemetery, so I decided to speak some Italian to see if I can get some Italian immigrants that were there. It was quiet for a while, and then after a brief moment, I had my body cam on, and I shift, my body to the right, and I capture this like mist, creature or person, like literally like 7 feet tall.
Looks like he's wearing overalls.
Yeah, and you can see his face. It's like a white, like it almost looks like almost like your little statue back there, like Mike, like Michael Myers
Mike
over there.
Myers.
Literally, dude, I swear, just like that. It was like a quick miss, and it comes by. And at that moment, there were like 2 minutes after that, I felt like this. She'll tell you, I just felt very, very agitated, and I had
Well,
to leave.
it was a negative.
Yeah, like it's just that I had to leave. Like I kept telling her over and over. She was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I can't explain it, but I just don't want to be here right now." So we had to cut it short. And then that night we got to we stayed at the Cleansdale.
We love that place. That's
Cleansdale,
our
yeah.
place.
That's the place to go. I mean, it's got a nice restaurant in the hotel up top. We stayed there, and she passed out right away. and I have trouble sleeping. I passed
In
out.
my defense, doing Reiki and being a human Tesla coil takes a lot of energy out of you.
Yeah, and yeah, she was out cold. I was laying there.
Cold after investigations.
And eventually, I fell asleep, but it was weird. Like I was laying there, and it was kind of like I woke up and I couldn't move, and I was just laying there. My neck was like shifted to the left. I couldn't move, and the there was like these wooden blinds in the hotel, and two of them were like flickering, and like there was no fan or nothing on. I was just like, but I couldn't move. I was just in a standstill, and there was something on the right where she was laying, standing there. I can feel it, but my body wouldn't let me turn to see it. It was just kind of like holding me down, and
Like a
I couldn't
sleep
move.
paralysis kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. But on top of that, I've had sleep paralysis before, and usually you just kind
Yeah.
of lay there and you can't move. But there was actually visual things going on, like the blinds were moving. You know what I mean? And I heard noises like coming from the right here. Like there was more to it than just the paralysis. I mean, I really there was something there, and I didn't sleep at all.
That was the one night we didn't do our. So after every investigation, and I advise this for anybody, whether you're brand new because you see a TV show and you want to try it or whatever, we have this ritual where I always cleanse us not just with the Reiki, but we also have Palo Santo soap. So as soon as an investigation's done, everything gets saged. We even take showers with Palo Santo soap. You never know. Even if something doesn't actually attach itself to you, there is still that energy magnetism that can grow. And heaven forbid, if it's a negative energy that, like, let's say you went somewhere where there was a negative attachment or poltergeist activity or what have you, it can also, just that little tiny piece can become a magnet to bring in something else and attract. So it grows and grows and grows. And if you don't take care of that, it can cause larger, more negative issues down the road. So I highly advise, I mean, you can get Palo Santo soap, or on Amazon, get sage, Palo Santo sticks, whatever it is. And just anytime you do any paranormal investigation or go somewhere that has that reputation, please make sure you're. Public announcement. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, they can follow you
Absolutely.
home. They can follow you home too. We were in Jerome, but I mean, you've heard instances where paranormal investigators, big names, they go home and they experience something, because they follow them home. They didn't properly cleanse or say a prayer or communicate, say, look, I'm leaving now. I appreciate you communicating with me now. Please let me go home in peace. Just kind of be positive. Because they will follow you home.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard so many stories of that. My friend Christina, she did an investigation and she forgot to do her goodbyes and and all that stuff. And she went home and she's like, I never do this, but for some reason once I went into my room, I shut my door and I locked it and I went to bed. And apparently my sister or her brother, I can't remember, but they got up in the middle of the night and saw a girl standing outside her bedroom door, just kind of like
Wow.
standing there staring at the door. And they didn't question it or anything. They just assumed that she had a friend over. And so the next morning, she's wakes up and her sibling, whoever, brother or sister, was like, "Yeah, I saw you had a friend over. Where is she?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, There was a girl standing outside your door last night." And she's like, "No, there wasn't. I didn't have a friend over."
Whoa.
So she's like, "I think something followed me because I in that moment when they were saying that, I was just like, I forgot to do my ending prayers and protect myself and all that stuff." So it can happen for sure. Absolutely. I tried all the three investigations that I've been on. I did it, I come home to kids too. I don't want to be bringing something here. So,
Yeah. Wow.
um,
Yeah.
man, speaking of kids, I can hear the baby right now.
Oh.
She must have woke up. But yeah, so anyways, what would be other than making sure you're respectful and making sure you protect yourself after you're done. What would be, other than that, what would be your best advice to somebody who's starting out?
Well, definitely get the history of the location you're going to. You know, especially if because people, they die tragically, some die peacefully. So you don't know the situation of what went on there. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So if you know that it's possibly something negative, and you're just starting, and you're not well experienced in how to deal with those kinds of spirits, I would not recommend visiting locations like that. I would do research on the history and see if other investigators have already been there and see what things they found.
Mm-hmm.
And if it, like I said, if it's something that you can, not have to worry about, or something negative, something attached to you, or demonic type entities, like she mentioned, the high school in Jerome, just knowing that what you're about to deal with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like when you went into that one house with the double homicide, remember that one?
Oh, so as I mentioned, I like to go into investigations not knowing anything because I'm able to get a clean reading. And the first time we were in Jerome, we decided to go on the ghost tour because it was our first time there. We just thought it would be fun to get our feet wet, learn a little bit of the history. And the tour guide realized that I had these abilities, and she's like, "You know what? I'm not going to tell you anything about this next location. I want to know what you pick up, and I'll let you know if you're right or wrong." And I love telling this story because I turned like this straight up jerk into a believer. He was such a skeptic. It freaked him out. Love it. So we went in, and there's this old apartment in Jerome, in right off of this rundown alley that you can barely walk straight, like you almost have to go sideways to go down. And I walked in, and immediately off the bat, I was like, "There are two here." And she's like, "Okay, tell me more." And I'm like, "The weird thing is, they're not here at the same time. There's a feminine, almost very scared presence. And when she's here, it's fine. But then this very aggressive male presence comes in, and it's almost like she's running away and hiding." And she turned to me, her mouth actually hung open, and she said, "There was a murder homicide of a couple here." It and they were still there. It wasn't residual. It was very much still there. I think the trauma locked them there because most of the
Mm-hmm.
energy in Jerome, I would say 50% is residual. It's almost like it's a VHS on repeat. And when that before he took us to that cemetery,
Mm-hmm.
I actually verified from too because he's like, "Why do you keep looking over there?" Because I was looking over his shoulder, and I'm like, "I am so sorry, I'm not being rude, but I'm literally seeing a bridge, and all of these spirits and people are crossing this bridge." And he looked over and he went, "Right there." And I'm like, "Yes." And keep in mind, you can see no physical evidence of there ever having been a bridge there or
Yeah.
pictures. And he looked at me and he's like, "There used to be a bridge there until it got ruined in a landslide."
Whoa.
So it being able to tell the difference between the residual, being able to communicate, and again, I can feel the energies, and it's not like communicating with you and me. I get these images in my head. It's no Cindy Kaza, who I admire her. We're trying to meet her in the end of March, which I'm very much looking forward to. Knock on wood, fingers crossed. Um, I like going in blank, but you also have to realize, as he mentioned, sometimes there's going to be that negativity, and there, like I said, in a murder suicide, just be respectful. Don't. I know that's on a trend right now, that antagonizing. You guys just don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Well, I mean, even that location
Mm-hmm.
that you're talking about, we also found out that the evil spirit that was there, he doesn't like males.
Oh.
So he doesn't like male presence. So that's
Yeah.
the thing too. If you just walk into a location like that, not knowing that, you're just asking for it, or that's something you got to look for when you pick a location, things like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like sometimes you can use those as an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, like if we were to go in a location like that, And if the spirit obviously doesn't like males, he prefers the female, then we send in the female investigator to try to communicate, But again, you got to make sure that it's not something negative, because we don't know what happened or, how they
Right.
passed away, or it could be a murder.
Yeah, if you're brand new, don't hesitate to do the research, act out. It's great to be getting in there, but again, be smart about it. Don't just see the TV show and be like, "Oh, I'm going to go do it too." And yeah,
Absolutely.
that's how that's how bad things
Absolutely.
happen.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many stories that I've heard, and a lot of people I've talked to on the podcast too that bring this up. But there's always seems to be an entity that just does not like men for some reason and will not communicate with men, and it's like all the time. And I wonder if that is something that like the what am I trying to say here? I wonder what it is to that, like what it. I am getting friggin'. I am like losing my words right now. I'm trying to.
No, you're,
Yeah, I'm trying to. I wonder what like
yeah,
if what that
it's like
is, what that's about.
like a dominance
Yeah.
thing, or it's dominance, right? As a male,
Yeah.
how our brains work. I mean, they work the same way, in the afterlife, and the spirits. That's how they think. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the male figure here,
Alpha.
the alpha. Yeah, like
Yeah.
and again, what cowardly type person would, kill a woman, this and that, and like, probably there's a little intimidation there too. You see a guy coming in, he's like, oh, you know what I mean? They kind of just step away, or sometimes you get no communication at
His
all.
big muscle nature has caused one or two issues with aggressive male spirits in the past
Oh,
where I've
man.
had to use my Reiki to like
Oh yeah.
keep them away because they see him and it's like and that had been the issue with the attachment that he had from the immigrant cemetery, as it was this guy was like no, because he was a big guy, and it's just you have to be careful because he might not look like it, but he's my teddy bear, so you just have to be very, very careful, and doing those cleansings is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What so together, since you guys have been together, other than the attachment, have you ever had anything that scared you to the point where you're like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this anymore or something? Anything that might have like pushed your boundaries a little bit?
I mentioned the high school in Jerome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That I have dealt in the past because I've been doing this for so long. I'm 37 now, so for well over 20 years. I mean, there have been times I brought in by people who had poltergeist experiences in their houses that I would verify and then help cleanse their houses for. So I've come across bad things. There was one where this poor woman, this demonic entity was literally, her dog was having puppies, and for some reason it was killing the puppies for some unknown reason. And
no.
that, I would say that was probably the scariest until Jerome. I will not go back to that Jerome High School, and I say this all the time, without an army of priests and an army of Reiki masters, because something happened in that high school and it summoned something very, very dark.
Oh no.
And we had actually been on a tour. It was on the same tour with a skeptic.
Yeah, it was like 3 skeptics.
And they were not skeptics when we left.
No.
And this is why I love doing this stuff, because technology verifies what I'm picking up.
Mm-hmm.
So we had gotten there and we knew it was bad. The tour guide was like, there is a demonic entity here. And the second we stepped on the property, the problem with having my abilities is when I know them, they know me. And to this day, every time we drive by that high school, it's almost like I know you're there. And I tell him, I'm like, in the car, I'm like, no, I can't. The second we walked into that school, it started trying to pick a fight with our group. And it was coming up through the floors. Everyone could feel their feet freezing, climbing up their legs. It was toying with us. They had sensors out, and I would say it's coming closer. The lights would go off. I'm like, it's backing away now. The lights would go down.
Well, I have the EMF detector, and I mean, I even, try to debunk it by seeing if there's any electrical wiring on the walls, so I kind of run along the walls, and there was nothing. I kept at a good distance. That thing was spiking the moment we walked in, and it was spiking more and more the further we went up to the next floor.
It got to the point where it was getting so bad that even the tour guide's like, okay, we need to leave. We start going down this stairwell, and halfway down, I throw my arms out and I'm like, guys, we cannot go another step down. The second I said that, the spirit, what device was it we were using at the time?
It was the SB11 box. The spirit radio. It's the bigger. I don't know if you've ever seen the bigger, like a brick. They don't use them anymore.
But the second I said that, this spirit came through loud and clear. Like, I think one of the girls screamed loud and clear. It said, run. And we all went the other way.
Yeah, it was very clear. And this dude, there was a heavy set guy in there, and I'm not trying to admit, but this guy he fell down like twice. It was like a scene from a cartoon, and he was gone. This guy moved, man. I was like, and yeah, we left that night, and even the tour guide was like in shock. She said they've never caught anything so clear. I mean, it was like a classic.
They've gotten growls, they've gotten scratches, but they never got like. She's like, anytime you guys come with me on my tours, because that whole night we were able to provide them these like clear activities.
Yeah, like she described, it's literally like you can feel it was like a mist coming from the basement, and it was slowly coming up. It hits the first floor, and then we're in the second floor, and then right when it was like halfway to the second floor, that's when that voice came through. I couldn't imagine if we stayed longer, what would have, because it was definitely a bad feeling in there.
Oh man.
Yeah, and every time we go there, that's probably the one location we don't go to. Maybe one day we'll go back, but I guess like she said, we need to have a lot of maybe some priests and some shamans with us, because
it's bad.
It's definitely something strong.
I mean, there's been stuff we've felt negative stuff on the Queen Mary, San Carlos Hotel, other places, some other random mines in northern Arizona, but whatever's in the Jerome High School is, I would say that's definitely the number one negative entity I've ever encountered.
Yeah.
Wow. And you said you're not sure what happened at that school?
No, the tour guide had said something about people breaking in and doing rituals. We've never found any proof of that, but something happened, because that is not. I can tell by the energy it's not supposed to be there, but it is.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I wonder if it also has something to do with just like surrounding areas, and it just attached itself to that building. Like you said with the Conjuring house, like it's a bubble around the land, and that house happens to be in the perfect spot. So
yeah,
I wonder.
When you go to Jerome, like literally, you drive up there, you go up this like wavy hill up on the mountain, and it's like the first thing that hits you is that high school. Like I don't know what it is, but it just draws.
He can feel it. I
can feel it. Like when we drive by, it's like, oh, like my heart starts to, I'm like, okay, we're about to hit past the high school right now.
Oh man.
And it's and even in Jerome, man, because like it's funny because right when you pass the high school, there's the they do have a cemetery, like the actual cemetery for the people that live there, because they have the immigrant cemetery, then they have the cemetery for the locals there. It's closed off, you can't go in, and it's literally across the street from the high school, so the entrance to that cemetery. So like you said, it's possibly that these spirits are probably wandering over to the high school, good or bad, and like you said, there could be some sort of attachment with that too. We never looked into that. But that's a possibility as well.
Do you know when the school stopped operating? By chance?
I don't think it was that long ago. The school is still operational. They have like
it's now it's just the it's like an art
like mini art studios.
Art studios, yeah.
Okay.
So it's still operational in that sense.
But not at night though. They even the locals won't be in there at night.
Yeah, at night they shut it down. But
is that one of those situations? is it one of those situations where the sun starts setting and they're like, we gotta get out of here?
I don't know, but we have noticed every time we go, because we go over there a lot. It's yeah, there's no one ever there starting at sundown.
It's possible. I mean, if the locals there are familiar with the stories, yeah, I'm sure. Like,
Uh,
hey, like it's getting dark now. I think we should go home. You know, I mean, it's
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely had my share of scary moments, so I would definitely be one of those. I'm there's certain stories that I hear from time to time where I'm like, I would just burn the house down and run away. I would run and burn it down like immediately. Like I nope, I'm not messing with that kind of stuff. So that having a clear voice come through and tell me to run, especially combined with all the bad feelings, that is one of those situations where I just like throw a match, let's get out of here, you know. Um, but I actually remembered that I wanted to ask you a question, Marco, real quick,
yeah.
while you were having that attachment attack where you were kind of stuck in this paralysis. Did that feel like a panic attack? That's
Uh, I wouldn't. I mean, when I started seeing like the blinds moving and stuff, I mean, my heart
Mhm.
was starting to, I was. I mean, yeah, I was getting terrified, man, because I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even talk. Because I know when I have like this sleep paralysis thing, like what I do, I have this thing where like when I know that I'm having it, it's kind of weird, but I'm actually able to get out of it. I do this thing with like this heavy breathing thing, like I snort a
Uh-huh.
little bit, and it wakes me up. It's funny because I'm actually able to get out of sleep paralysis that way, and ever since I was a kid, when I have them, that's how I get out of them. But with this situation, it wasn't like that. I couldn't even get air out. Like I was just stuck. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh,
that's
man.
why I knew it was something different. It was something I never felt before. And like I said,
Mm,
right when I described it to her, that's what she said. Like I think whatever you were feeling, that agitation, that negativity was something that was attached to you, and it stayed with me all night. I mean, I barely got like an hour of sleep, you know.
yeah.
So I mean,
I
yeah, she felt
I
bad.
felt so
She
bad
was supposed
because
to cleanse me, and she didn't.
the one
Asshole.
time, the one time, it's not easy being a human battery, okay?
No, it's not. No, it's not. I had a similar kind of situation. I don't know if it's an attachment or not, but I woke up to my name being called and um m- I just kind of like opened my eyes. I'm groggy a little bit and at the time I had a nightlight sitting in my bathroom for my kids. My kids were a little bit younger at the time. This was like 3 years ago, which so they're not that young. Technically, they were still teenagers, but anyways, I had a nightlight on there so that I could find the bathroom anyways for the kids. Um And so I kind of like open my eyes and I'm sprawled out like a starfish. And I open my eyes and I see this like silhouette of like this just voluptuous woman. And I'm just like, it was a shadow person technically, like it was just a silhouette. And I was like stuck and I couldn't move, just like you're
Oh
saying. And I'm
wow.
like trying to move, but I can't. And I'm just like kind of like stuck there like that. And then it starts to move, like come towards my bed, and it was not doing anything cool or anything that I thought like looking at it would have been nice to see, but it was just like fucking C3PO walking in just kind of like that. And I was just like, and I'm trying to and I see my phone, it's just out of reach of my hand, and I'm just like, I'm looking at it, and I could only move my eyes, and then all of a sudden I could move the tips of my fingers, and I'm looking really hard at my phone and wiggling my fingers, and then I'm looking back at it, and it's just about to like get onto my bed, and then my hand just like my body kind of moves, and I
Oh
grab
wow.
my phone and I hit my button on my phone to light up the room and it was gone. And it was one of the most terrifying freaking things that I have ever experienced. And I like sat up, I started sweating, and I just had like I had a breakdown, like I had a panic attack right there in that moment.
Wow.
So
That's the house
that's
now. The house you're in now.
yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
And that was like 3 years ago, and that was the last time anything's happened. I did like this cleanse. I had this medium come here, and she did a thing. And ever since she has been here, there hasn't been anything, but that was one of the most terrifying experiences with anything paranormal that I have experienced in my life. Because
Wow.
I thought I was gonna die. 100%. I thought I was gonna die.
Wow. That's funny
So,
because I used to get those a lot growing up as a kid. I actually probably never told her, but um, because we growing up, we lived in this house that my parents were renting out. It was a friend of the family. It was their grandparents' house, and they passed away in the house. And me and my brother, because one of those houses that has a separate house in the back,
yep.
so me and my brother have our own house in the back with our room upstairs, and I was a kid, 11 years old, so I didn't know what was going on, what it was. But you would wake up smelling wine, and her grandfather was an alcoholic. That's how he passed. He had liver cancer from drinking so
Mhm.
much. And that's something we would, experience in the house. And then one time my parents had friends over, they were playing cards, had the deck put away, and then they come out the next morning and the deck's just spread out on the table, things like that. Just and I would sleep, and this happened a lot. Like I mean, you saw that voluptuous lady, not me. I would wake up, my eyes would be up, and this face would get this close to me, a pale, hideous face with black eyes, and it would scream at me.
Oh
And I
my
would literally wake
gosh.
up like you did, like I had an attack. And I thought like I was a kid and had a nightmare at the time, but it would happen a lot in that house. I mean, literally, I can feel the breath of this woman. I couldn't even tell it was a man or a woman. It was just a pale face with black eyes, and it would just scream at me, just scream, like screeching sound, and I would wake up instantly, and I would never go back to sleep. And it's funny because that that kind of made me stronger, like in a sense where like I wasn't scared of like as she knows I'm a big horror film buff. I love horror films. It's my favorite genre. I watch
He's
anything.
friends with Kane Hodder.
I know Kane Hodder
Oh,
personally.
nice.
Like, so I'm all big into the horror thing, like, so that kind of made me a little stronger growing up as a kid, but yeah, like you can't explain it. Like you can't move. And like I said, it's when it's interacting with you like that and you can't move.
Mm,
I mean, there's nothing you can do. You just gotta
no.
wait it out, or like you said, try to move or try to do something. You
Yeah.
know, it's scary. Well,
Yeah. I've had sleep paralysis a few times in my life too. I saw shadow people a lot growing up. So I
oh wow,
100% like I understand that as a kid, like not understanding what is happening and you thinking that you're having a nightmare. And then I think you said when with the Ouija board thing with your dad and your dad's like, "Oh, you just had a nightmare or something like that."
yeah,
I feel like and when I would tell my parents or my grandparents something that I experienced, they'd be like, "Oh, that was probably just a dream. You didn't really see
yeah,
that." So I'm like, "Am I crazy? Am I going crazy?" You know? So it's a lonely place sometimes when everybody in your life is telling you you're not experiencing what you're experiencing.
yeah. Or they think you're crazy, right?
Yeah.
They think
Yeah.
you're insane. That's my world actually.
I've had that issues. Like I mentioned earlier, I still don't think my parents believe me. I would and even in school in high school, um, there would be times where I would let something slip. There was this one instance, I think I was a sophomore in high school, and I just my classmate's dad showed up at the door and I was like, are they getting pulled out of class? And I realized they're not actually there. And then I turned to them and I'm like, I think you should step out of class and go call your mom. And they're like, why would you tell me to do that? Like 10 seconds later, the principal came in and grabbed and pulled them out, and they'd been killed in a car accident.
Oh,
It's,
wow.
yeah. After that, then people would like start coming to me and asking me to do things that like I wouldn't. It's like, can you read tarot cards for me and all this other stuff? And I'm like, no, I no.
You want their future told.
It's like it doesn't work that way. Like I have no control over it, and I can't even see them regularly all the time either. It's I get the images and I feel them, and I do try to turn it off sometimes. If I go places like hospitals, in my spare time, I volunteer in pediatric wards at the hospitals, and I have to almost like turn it off because, as I mentioned, when I can sense them, they can sense me. It's not a one-way street, it's a two-way street. And if they realize that someone is there that can see them and communicate with them, it's almost like I'm getting harassed and followed and walked around. So it's yeah, people will tend to not believe, and then I do something and it's like, how did she know this, or how is this possible? And then all of a sudden
You got those people, then you got the ones that harass you in a religious way. I have to tell you this real quick because it was one of my posts I put about like public a month ago. Because I'm in the gym, and I mean I meet a lot of people, and this gentleman, he's in the fitness industry. He works out, he trains, he does bodybuilding. Anyways, we got real close. We had coffee, and then one day he messages me. He's like, "Hey, so what do you and your wife like to do?" Like he was being all excited. I was like, "Well, me and my wife, we're paranormal investigators." And there was a pause. Like he didn't text for like maybe like 5-6 minutes later, and he writes this long thing like from the Bible verse, this and that. He's like, "Oh, that's work of the devil." He's like, Marco, he's like, I can't talk to you anymore. He's like, I have to save you. He's like, you need help. And then I was like, oh, okay. So, and he just kept going on, and he wrote this long verse, and he disappeared for maybe like 2-3 months. I'm like, okay, cool. He's off my back. Not even like 2 weeks ago, he writes another long thing, and he's like, "Did you read that verse that I sent you? Did you read it? Did you read it in the Bible?" I'm like, he's like, based off you not responding, he's like, "You didn't read it, did you?" And I'm ignoring him. He just keeps talking, and I'm just like, so yeah. And I made a post a month ago asking everybody on social media, like, how do paranormal investigators deal with people like that? As far as when you tell them you're dealing with the paranormal, like you're crazy, or it's like, hey, this guy is doing some devil's work. Only God can do this kind of stuff. You're playing God. You're doing this and that. It's like you're messing with the wrong stuff. That they don't understand. It's like we're communicating. Like we mentioned earlier, we're not provoking. We're not doing anything negative. We're trying to communicate. There's spirits there that let's just say they had unfinished business, or they didn't get to say what they needed to say before they passed, or they want to get their message out before they move on. Right? There's always that dimension in the middle before they pass on, where they're stuck because they haven't finished their business. They want to say goodbye to somebody. That's what we do. It's like we're into the unknown, we're into the paranormal, but we're trying to help these spirits get their words out. And that's why the industry and the paranormal investigating, it's gotten so advanced with the radios and EVPs and all this type of equipment to communicate for that reason. And that's why we do it. We love it because we love helping. We want to help these spirits be able to get their words out, to help them, move on as well. But yeah, it's dealing with people like that is it's a lot of fun. Like you got pretty excited there too. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have a couple buddies that are Christians. And I've been on some Bigfoot expeditions with them.
Oh, nice.
ooh,
And so yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's some interesting shit happened on those. But anyways, so like the very first one that we went on to get together, my buddy Drewski, he's super Christian, and he's on fire for the Lord and all this stuff, but like he's not one of those people like that. Like if you want,
Yeah,
he's like, I can tell you the word, but if you at the end of the day, whatever you want to do is what you want to do. I'm not gonna
exactly.
hold. It's not my place to judge you. It's for God to judge you. That's his
Exactly.
perspective, and which actually that's all my friends' perspectives who happen to be Christian. But
Good.
I did not know from the religious perspective, my buddy Riley was telling me when we were on our last expedition, that the way that religion views ghosts is that they're demons, because how can a human spirit still be on earth when they have advanced to heaven? That's what their perspective is. So when somebody is so like enthralled into their religion, your buddy obviously, or well, I would maybe not your buddy
Thanks, buddy.
anymore, but
He's not my buddy no more.
so that gentleman um is viewing it in that lens, and instead of being friendly about it, he's going to push
Hmm.
his viewpoint onto you, instead of just being like, look, this is what I think, but if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. But I just want you to know what I think about it, like that. And I think that's a better approach, is to just be like, hey man, I think this, but you can do what you want. I just want you to know, like, this is how I view. It's not like this, you have to, you can only do what I say, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
I hate that, like, not hate, but it's kind of distasteful to me, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, we're all just um people trying to live in the best way that we can, and
Yeah.
for somebody to judge is, it's not really their place, like I said.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I'm
It's
sorry you experienced that, man.
Yeah, man. It was. I mean, like you said too, because we see the religious part of it. Yes, 'cause I'm Catholic. I'm Italian. So I believe. I have my beliefs. But I also try to obviously take the scientific approach. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So sometimes I put religion aside. It's not about the religion. It's more about the scientific approach, right? That's why we use all this technology. EMF detectors, REM pods, things like that, sensory devices, things like that, to approach it in the scientific sense. You know what I mean? So a lot of times they don't understand, like, hey, look, this is nothing to do with religion. This is science.
Yeah.
Science is trial and error. You do something, you get a result. You know what I mean? So that's what we're doing.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean we're crazy, we're wackos, or just, there's been scientists throughout history. They're always, doing something to discover something or invent something. It's just the way it is. It's the way humans are. We're
Yeah.
curious.
The
Very.
Vatican does back it though. They've
Yeah.
they've made multiple media releases and press conferences, especially in the last year or two, because there
Yeah, they
has been
have.
such an uprise
Mhm.
in the negativity and poltergeist activity.
The veil's
Mhm.
thin.
The veil is very thin.
Yeah. I've been seeing some things. I guess the Vatican was opening a seal or something, like, not too long ago, was it? Am I correct in that? Do you know?
I think that's what. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually that's what we're
Mhm.
talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
we saw it on the news.
Yeah. So the Catholic religion in itself is more open to, like, the supernatural, from my perspective anyway, from what I've seen.
Yeah,
Um that seems to be like the main, because the main religion that I have noticed that kind of like gives more credence to spirits than any, and demons than any other religion. So um I find it interesting. There's a lot of Christians, because I mean, well, Catholicism is just a branch of Christianity. But like the main Christians, I guess, like that, s- I don't know, the original Christian religion, I guess,
yeah,
they don't seem to think spirits are real, just like that guy. Um, and which is interesting to me, because in right in the Bible, Jesus dies and then he's resurrected, and that's a supernatural thing to me. So
yeah. It is.
they don't believe in supernatural, but they believe that happened. Um,
Yeah,
so I don't know. It
yeah.
gets interesting, but anywho, not to go on a rant about religion, uh, I do have a closing question. It's my favorite closing question, and I feel like you guys are gonna have an amazing answer to it. Are you guys finding fulfillment in your lives doing what you're doing?
You want to take that one first?
Oh, definitely. I mean, like we're just talking about now, like, you know, this is something I love to do, and I love helping people, and being in the paranormal, I do it. It's the help, you know, getting communication from these spirits to kind of help them, you know, have a closure, you know, as far as, you know, what happened, you know. And she's also a history buff herself. You know, we love the history too. A lot of these locations that we go to have a lot of
The
rich
Queen
history.
Mary.
You know, a lot of rich history. And I mean, how great would it be to, you know, communicate with the spirit from that time, to hear a story from that time, you know? And that's what I'm passionate about. That's why I like going to these older locations. Even you mentioned, like, you came to Arizona and, you know, you saw a city that was built in 1960. Like, for me, that's not exciting, right? I mean, I want to go further back, you know, like the 40s, the 20s, you know, like, just that I'm intrigued by that history, and to be able to communicate and get answers from that era, that time of what happened, you know. It's just I love doing it, you know. And that's why I take the scientific approach as well, and I build these boxes to kind of help everybody, you know, get those answers, you know, get those questions answered, and you know, to kind of spread the word, like, hey, you know, this stuff is real, you know, it's real, and it's out there. And, you know, if you're new at doing this, you know, just be careful and do your history, and, you know, pick those locations where, you know, it's safe, you know. So,
Yeah, for me, it's always just been something that's a part of me. I've never looked for it. It's just kind of how it is. But I do like being able to not just go and get the sense of it. So for me, again, getting those videos, those energies, like when we go to Jerome or at the San Carlos and the Queen Mary, that energy, I feel like, the best way I can explain it is I feel like the 1920s. It's that layered different energy. So for me, I almost get like a little bit of a high off of like this energy and being able to be inserted into it, almost like I'm time traveling. And yeah, I have to be very careful where I go. For me, being the history buff, I studied ancient Rome, and with Marco being from Italy, like my thing is like, my God, I would love to go to Pompeii, but at the same time, it petrifies me because I don't know what I could be experiencing and what could be there. Like, would I be feeling that trauma that's so ingrained and soaked into everything? Like, how would I be affected? When we were at the immigrant cemetery the first time we were there, I didn't know what to expect, so I didn't have my words up. I was crying because there were little kids there that I was picking up on. I was like sobbing. So yeah, just in my case, I don't like knowing the history, but we've having been together for so long, he lets me know, it's like, hey, prepare yourself or guard yourself from this, at least. Like, there's gonna be trauma, so I can go into it. But I get a little bit of a high going places like the Queen Mary and feeling all that energy, that old time energy. And when I go back to Rhode Island, feeling that older sense of like ancient energy too. It's, yeah, it almost makes me feel like a time traveler. I love having this ability.
Nice. Can I ask you a question? How long have you guys been together?
We are coming up on 5 years in March.
yeah.
Nice. So
So
there's something that I noticed in talking with you guys throughout this hour or so, and that is the way that Karisa looks at you. I really enjoy the way she looks at you like she's fucking her heels are over her head, and it's amazing to watch.
It's the tech talk. That's what it is. Isn't it? Isn't it?
I'm
When I get
like
all
this whole time.
scientific and technical.
Yeah, this whole time I'm like, man, this woman is in love, dude.
No,
It's
he's amazing and I love him so much and we did it. It's nice to be with someone who actually like originally I actually didn't even tell him about my abilities for a while actually.
Yeah, it was a while.
It was a little while because previously like people are like, "Oh, she's a crackpot. She's crazy." Like I just gotten so used of not telling people unless like the situation calls for it. I don't remember, but something happened and it was just like all of a sudden we were just like in this intense conversation and like we were going to Jerome and he proposed up in Jerome and it was like we were doing our first investigation together type of thing. And ever since then, it's just been one of these things that's actually drawn us and brought us together because I have someone who not only believes me, but he's created these devices, the XLS camera. What's that other thing, the newer one that you did, like the really fancy one? I can't remember. It's got like the really weird initials.
Oh, the processor.
Yeah, there was another device he just did, and he does all these things because he's not just trying to prove that he believes me, but he's like involved in it too, where he gets just as excited and he's just as interested. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to
That's
find somebody
amazing.
that's into that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've been with people in the past that I kind of had to close that part of my life because you know that if you bring it up, they'll think you're crazy or they won't. They'll just back off. I
For sure.
mean, imagine going on your first date with someone and it's like, yeah, I'm into paranormal and stuff, and then they kind of look at you like, oh yeah, okay, bye.
I'm out of here.
Then
Please.
then they ghost you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Really?
Hey, it's true. I mean,
It is. It is.
Yeah. He swept me on my feet from the beginning. He's always after our first date, he sent me this massive bouquet of flowers with chocolate covered strawberries, and it's just yeah.
He is a teddy bear then. Oh my gosh.
He is. He looks scary, but he's not.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the
that's
best
what-
way
yeah.
to be. You gotta be what is it? A warrior in a garden, not a gardener in a war. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of give off a lot of positive energy. Aside from the paranormal stuff, like you meet in the fitness industry, when I'm in the gym, people approach me all the time.
Oh God, it's like being married to
They
a
talk to me.
celebrity.
They come up to me. They feel intimidated, like asking me questions, and like I answer them. I help them out. Sometimes I got like today's kid came up to me today. He almost wet himself. I'm like, hey, it's okay, man. Like, you have a question, just ask me.
That's
Just being
awesome.
positive, man. Just that's my how I say it. The way I see life, like when I walk into a room, I try to light it up the best I can. Because if you don't, then people will feel that, and that's where the social part comes in. That's why I'm good with people. I try to be positive, think positive. I don't judge people, in the gym either. It's like we're all here for the same reason, so it's just the way I am.
I feel you. That's an awesome way to be. Awesome way to be. If you guys don't mind, if you have any like socials you want to plug real quick and all that stuff, and if you want to give out your email one more time for the boxes, that now would be a great time to do that.
Yeah. So if you're interested in the boxes, my email is mmagliozzi1985@gmail.com. That's my personal email. You could also find us on what's our link for Instagram?
Instagram is if you type in Magliozzi Paranormal Investigations, it should come up. It's mag_para_investigations.
Yeah, you'll find us. You'll find the links on Instagram, or if you want to go directly on Etsy, just type in Magcom Radio, or even if you type in Spirit Radio,
should come up.
Magcom should come up on there, and it's our MPI store. But you have the option to purchase the radios that I have already built, or we have the option where you can have a custom radio built based off of what era you want or any type of customizations you want. Like Bluetooth, you can have Bluetooth on there, different colored RGB lights that you want, and also even the color of the fabric that you want on the speakers too. So anything like that, anything custom, just email me, and I'll send you a quote and go from there.
Dope. I like it. Definitely, if you guys are interested, I'd definitely love to have you come back and tell some more stories.
Yeah.
If you're up for it. But other than that, for the listeners, you know the drill by now. Please like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a rating and review. If your podcatcher doesn't allow you to leave a review, you can please consider doing so on the website where the weird ones are podcast.com. That is also where you can get some merch. I have a ton of different designs for t-shirts if you're interested. Hot sauce, coffee, supplements, and some short stories. I am blogging now, so if you're interested in reading any of those, I also put a blog out of each episode before the episodes drop. So I don't know. Other than that, question everything and stay weird. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you.
In the quiet of the night, when the world feels far, there's a voice through the static, like a falling star. It calls the misfits, the dreamers, the ones who see the shadows in the corners, the truth we barely believe. From the pine tree woods to the desert skies, they talk of ghosts and aliens with wonder in their eyes, not afraid to ask the questions that others won't dare, 'cause the world gets strange when you stop and stare. Come gather around where the weird ones are, by the fireside glow or a midnight call, where the stories run deep and the secrets fly like owls in the dark or stars in the sky. If you've ever felt lost, like you don't belong, you found your place, you found your song, right here where the weird ones are. They'll talk of cryptids, time slips, and deja vu, of spirits that linger, and what might be true. But more than the monsters, it's the people you'll find who dare to be open with curious minds. It's not about fear, it's the thrill of the ride, to question the world with wonder as guide. So pull up a chair, let your freak flag fly, we're the seekers of truth beneath the sky. Yeah, come gather around where the weird ones are, on the moonlit thoughts and cosmic scars, where the veil feels thin and the questions burn, and we chase the strange at every turn. You're not alone, not in the dark, you're with the tribe. You found the spark right here where the weird ones are. For the ones who wonder, for the ones who know, welcome home.